Hello everyone and welcome back guys to round 2 of season 2 of the F1 2020 McLaren driver career mode, where today we're here back heading to Bahrain. Now obviously if you missed out on the first video that went live on Saturday, I would definitely recommend going back and checking it out. The start of the new season, always an exciting time, and Australia actually delivered some brilliant racing action as well. Obviously, of course, there will be spoilers in just a moment, so yeah, obviously, if you do want to go check out that video, I would definitely recommend doing so. And yeah, spoilers, therefore, in 3, 2, 1 now. So, heading out of Australia, it looks like we are in for a huge dogfight between ourselves and Mercedes-AMG for the World Championship there. A dramatic last lap pass from myself on Valtteri Bottas there that allowed Lando to sneak by as well means that we walked away from Melbourne with a 1-2 finish at the end of the Grand Prix there. Bottas came through for P3 ahead of Perez, and Hamilton there having a really torrid day out in Australia, as you can see further down the order. Albon, both Ferraris and Renaults looking fairly decent as well. There's Max Verstappen, the only man who didn't make it to the checkered flag. But yeah, heading to Bahrain though, should be a track that suits our car a little bit more. It seemed like Mercedes had the one-lap pace, but our race pace was incredibly good. So as we head into Bahrain this weekend, let's see what we can muster up. Here we are then, back once again, qualifying day at the Capure International Circuit. Obviously here for round 2 of the season in Bahrain. Could this be now the time where we get the very first pole position for McLaren in this career mode? It'd be the very first pole position for McLaren since, what, 2012 as well here. Almost 10 years this team has been waiting to get a car back at the front of the field here. But we're ready then for one-shot qualifying. Let's see if we can try and get a lap hooked up. Obviously, as always, the orange car does look stunning under the floodlights here of the Capure circuit, unlike the real-life Grand Prix that's just gone ahead as I run horrendously wide through the first corner. That's going to cost us a lot of time as we head up the hill, surprisingly. Not as much as I thought, as Lando Norris now into the lead as we head up the hill there. But yeah, obviously, in real Formula 1 this weekend, obviously the cars dart left here. We continue on by going right as we head down in towards the very tight technical Sector 2 of this Capure circuit, trying to tap the curbs where we can. Down in towards the hairpin, try and really avoid getting any wheel spin on the exit there. Struggled a bit with that during free practice, made a couple of small mistakes through there. Down through the most notorious corner of the lap, turn 10. And then try and get the power down on the exit once again here. Really sloppy lap by myself so far. They see Lando Norris a good few car lengths ahead of us. He could be on for the team's first pole position in almost a decade, like I said here, as we head up through Sector 3. Avoid that inside curb, use all the curbing on the exit though. Come on, nose in. Really try and just utilise everything, trying to get as close to the front of the pack as we can once again. They're actually get a warning for track limits as we head down in towards the final couple of corners of the lap. Again, use all the curbing through the final turn, try to get the power down, and it looks like Lando clear at the front of the field. This is going to be a 1-2 in the end. Despite a really poor lap by myself, we managed to look out the front row. Get in there.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. Norris, Mr. Monaco, and Valtteri Bottas. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
So there we go then, qualifying done for the Bahrain Grand Prix, and Lando Norris, McLaren's first pole position, like I said, since 2012 there. Bottas in at P3 ahead of Verstappen, Perez, Charles Leclerc and Hamilton. Supposedly the best qualifier of all time, clearly not showing it this weekend, down in P7 on the grid there, but a very tightly bunched pack there. You can see Seb down in 11th, only 1 second off the pole there, but Renault, Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull, Racing Point and McLaren all seem very close on the pace this weekend here, so this could be very interesting. Let's dive in then here to the Bahrain Grand Prix.
The stage is set for another enthralling race here in the Kingdom of Bahrain. A Ferrari stronghold in years gone by, but will they be able to add to their record today? Formula 1 returns to the desert today on this exceptional 3.36 mile circuit. 15 corners provide plenty of overtaking opportunities. It could be a strategic race, this one, with Sakir notorious for eating up the rear tyres. Watch out for drivers managing their rubber at some point during the Grand Prix. Joining us today to oversee all the thrills and spills, it's Anthony Davidson. And great to see you. How are you feeling about the race today, and how are the circuit conditions from what you've seen?
Well, it's looking a bit cold out there, if I'm honest. These tyres have quite a narrow operating window in terms of the temperatures they need to extract the best grip. So with a cold track surface, it's going to be harder to keep those temperatures up, which will lead to lower grip and maybe more mistakes.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday and will start from pole position. And Mr. Monaco completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Bottas, Verstappen, Sergio Perez, and Leclerc, Hamilton, Albon, Stroll, and Esteban Ocon, Vettel, Ricciardo, Pierre Gasly, and Kvyat, Magnussen, Grosjean, Kimi Raikkonen, and Antonio Giovinazzi, Russell, and Nicholas Latifi. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Jeff, I'm not even listening to you. We go for podiums and dubs this season. We're not about those top 10 finishes. But here we are then, on the grid, ready for round 2 of the season in the Sakir Desert. Crofty and Anthony Davidson saying pre-race that it's looking rather cold this weekend, so we'll wait and see as to how this one goes. But hopefully myself and Lando, we can keep it clean, keep it tidy, and try and walk away with another 1-2 here. It seems like we got a little bit of pace in the bag over the Mercedes this weekend. Obviously not so much a chassis track, this one, sort of more power and aerodynamics, so it really has helped us out as we get ready for this weekend. But yeah, we've got 14 laps ahead of us. Let's just jump right in then here to the Bahrain Grand Prix. Really, really looking forward to this one. It's the 5 red lights. Come on then. 5 red lights, and it's the lights out, and away we go. Lando and myself don't get off to a particularly brilliant start there, as we're going to be hounded by Max Verstappen and Bottas down in towards the first corner. Just going to break nice and tidy. Bit of contact actually there with Verstappen as we try to get the power down on the exit of the corner there, and we have definitely been swallowed off at the start there. Perez almost getting past us as well there. But yeah, Verstappen, a very, very aggressive move down the middle as Perez tries to look for something at the top of the hill. Is he going to be able to make anything work? No, we just about hook it up around the outside there. But yeah, Verstappen, like I was saying, they're very, very aggressive down the middle at the start there. Bottas as well, just on the outside. Almost, well, he has managed to make it work there. He hasn't lost any positions, but Verstappen, the big winner in all of that as we head down in through Sector 2 here. But Lando as well, opening up a nice tiny margin at the start of this Grand Prix there, so he couldn't have asked for much of a better start as well. So yeah, a little bit of mix-up. Obviously Verstappen needs a good result here if he wants to get his championship challenge back on track this weekend. Obviously no points scored in Melbourne, Australia last time out. Hopefully reliability isn't going to completely ruin his chances of a World Championship campaign this season. You know, Mercedes, Red Bull, even the likes of Perez looking very, very feisty at the start of this season here. But coming to the end of lap 1 though, Lando Norris still leads the way. Max Verstappen up into P2 ahead of Bottas, myself, Perez, Leclerc, and I think that's Stroll. I'm in a 7th place there ahead of the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton. So really, yeah, struggling in the early stages of this season. Coming towards the end of lap 2 here. Like I always feel in this series, it takes us a couple of laps to just get into a groove at the start of these Grand Prix. Verstappen and Bottas, they're looking very, very quick as Lando, well, he seems to have found another gear in this Grand Prix in the early stages there. He's already got, what, about a 3, maybe 4 second margin at the front of the field here, as I think Bottas and I started to just struggle a little bit behind Verstappen, starting to lose a little bit of pace. Lando sets a 27.4. Only 3/10 off, actually, on that lap, so maybe the gap isn't quite as big as I thought. Oh, we got yellow flags out. Who seems to be struggling? It's one of the Red Bulls. It's Albon this time round, who appears to be falling to the wayside. So what is wrong with the Red Bull's reliability at the start of this season here? Are we going to get a safety car from this? I don't think we are. But yeah, Red Bull, 2 retirements in 2 Grand Prix here. They definitely have got to go back to the drawing board with this car. Coming on to lap 4 though, Bottas gets a good run on Verstappen. We might try and follow him past. No, Verstappen going to aggressively cut in front of us there as we head down in towards turn 1. Where is the Red Bull going to try and go. It looks like we have got the move done on Verstappen there, so clearly, I don't know if Red Bull have told him, you know, we've already had the issue with Albon. Just don't bother trying to hold these guys up and focus on our own race and getting some points on the board. But yeah, not ideal therefore for Max Verstappen. It does mean, though, we've now got eyes on Lando Norris on the relative as well. They're 3 seconds clear our teammate after just 4 laps of racing. Bottas just getting a little bit squirrely out of turn 4 there, but I think, yeah, definitely safe to assume that Verstappen was holding the pair of us up in the early stages of this Grand Prix. Both Bottas and I already well over a second ahead of the Red Bull man, as Charles Leclerc might be able to apply some pressure to him sooner rather than later here as well. Get him thinking about the pit window. Well, obviously, Lando even will get priority pit stop at the moment, so when he wants to pit, obviously we'll have to work around that. It's just getting a little bit fishtaily out of turn 10, but yeah, just sitting all over the back of Bottas, working out where he's strong, where he isn't at the moment. Trying to get a decent run as we head on to lap 6. This is supposedly going to be our pit window as Bottas goes defensive down in towards the first corner, but we've just got enough engine poke. Definitely braking far too late though in towards the first corner. Is Bottas really going to slam the door on us on the exit, try and pinch us out on the apex? And yeah, that time around the Finn does get the DRS here. Obviously, I'm sure there's a bit more to this than obviously just general racing for Paul Valtteri, obviously after what happened last time out. But obviously, if Lando decides not to pit, we probably should dive in the end of this one.
This energy.
Down in towards the final corner of Sector 3 then, is Lando Norris going to dive into the pits at the end of this lap, or is he going to try and go 1 lap longer here? Lando stays out, so we are going to dive it in to the pit lane here, hopefully try and get a bit of an undercut on Valtteri. Bottas, make sure we get it slowed down. Verstappen as well, just behind us, diving it into the pit lane, as well as Sergio Perez and Lewis Hamilton into the pits as well here, so hopefully we won't get held. 2.6 second stop, we just come out. We actually probably would have been an illegal one in real Formula 1 then. We got away with the ghosting this time round, so rather happy with that one, but it's pretty much going to leave us at the rear of the field here, obviously excluding the guys that haven't pit just yet. There goes Nicholas Latifi just out in front of us, so we do need to try and get around him once more. Pretty much instantly once again stuck all over the back looking at the Safina liveried Williams car as we head through Sector 2. Come on, Nick, just got to find more pace than that buddy through there. Just Verstappen's been allowed to get all over the back of us once again in just the space of a few corners, so really not going well for us at the moment here. Is what is Latifi going to do down in towards here? Can we try and get the power down on the exit? All over the back of him. Amazing just how late that Williams has to get on the power. We'll look to the outside, stay on the racing line as we head down towards Sector 3, much later on the brakes, and around the outside of the Canadian we go there, and that is 1 less car to navigate. Lando into the pits. Let's see where he comes back out. It should probably be in the lead, but you never know. Verstappen just behind us, having a look past Latifi as well, down in towards the final couple of corners, so he's definitely made a better deal of that than I have. One of the Alpha Tauris now into the lead of this Grand Prix, but where are we going to come out? There, obviously, Lando out of the pit lane. There goes Bottas. No, we've got ahead of the Mercedes, so that's been a massive, massive undercut on Valtteri Bottas there. I think, look at the gap to Lando though, it's opened up by about another second or so, so Bottas must have really been held in the pit lane. He's ended up behind Verstappen in this Grand Prix there, so a strategy disaster by Mercedes once again there, forcing out Bottas behind the McLarens, or at least making him vulnerable to him. Last time out, obviously they put him on the hards for the end of the Grand Prix for whatever reason. This time round, he gets held in the pit lane, and we now move ourselves up into net P2 of this race. Giovinazzi getting a little bit loose through the final corner of Sector 2. Obviously, we don't need to risk going for any sort of dangerous moves in towards the final corner, but we are going to have a look to the outside of the Italian man there. Obviously, he should be diving it down into the pit lane, and we do go clean around the outside of Giovinazzi there. Still, obviously, the AlphaTauri of Kvyat into the pits as well. But yeah, we are now up into second place, therefore, of this Grand Prix. With 6 laps to go, though, the gap to Lando, 5 seconds up the road. It's going to be a tall order to try and close down our teammate. We probably should be more focused on the gaps behind there, as Verstappen and Bottas still duking it out. Yeah, on to lap 10. We've really pushed that lap, set a new fastest lap actually of the Grand Prix by just a few hundredths over our teammate there, but still only taking about 4/10 out of him on that lap. So I think this one is just about trying to consolidate P2 once more. Coming through the final corner then, ready to start the final lap of this Bahrain Grand Prix, and Lando Norris has been in a different league in this Grand Prix there. Bottas actually has taken a bit of time out of us as well over the last couple of laps there. Has actually made a small mistake on the last one there. But yeah, Lando has just been untouchable this weekend. Pole position, we have taken fastest lap off him, but only by a few hundredths of a second, if I'm not mistaken there. But yeah, I mean, 25 points on the board for Lando really does go to show, you know, we're not going to have it our own way over the entirety of this season there. Another disappointment for Bottas, who seemed to have the pace, just not the luck on his side this weekend. I'm sure he is certainly going to be a threat throughout the entirety of this season as well there. But Hamilton did recover, or has currently recovered up into P5 there. He's really been able to break away from Perez and Leclerc behind him, who seem to be very, very consistent at the start of this season. But yeah, saying that, Bottas taking a fair bit of time out of us on this last lap. Hopefully, I mean, he hasn't got DRS, so as long as we don't do anything silly now, we should be safe to bring home P2. But yeah, it's been an interesting Grand Prix though. But really for Lando, yeah, that difference was made at the start there after we got stopped behind Bottas and Verstappen early on. It just allowed Lando to get away, and then the gap was just never going to be able to come back down enough in the short space we were given after we were able to get around the fin once more there. But through the final corner, Lando Norris is going to take his second ever Formula 1 race victory, obviously after the Chinese Grand Prix last season. We are going to come through though to make it 2 1-2s in a row for the team there. That is exactly what we need to start the season.
Top job, my friend, top job. I was a bit worried about this one at the start of the weekend, but you've pulled through. Thank you.
That's it for another spectacular Grand Prix here in Bahrain, and a real champion's drive to take the win. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
Our winning drivers are on their way to the podium right now. It's been a fantastic race for McLaren, that's for sure, and no doubt they'll be celebrating tonight. So let's review the updated driver standings. Not the result our points leader wanted, but it certainly makes things interesting going forward. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
I'll probably go for Pierre Gasly. The team did a good job with the strategy to put him in amongst the pack, but it's the driver's job to capitalise on those opportunities, and he did so with a lot of skill.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. McLaren continue to increase their gap at the top. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time? Be sure to join us again as we continue to bring you the latest excitement in Formula 1.
Well, there we are then, guys, the end of the Bahrain Grand Prix, and another 1-2 for the team. What a car we have started off the season with as well there. Lando Norris, pole position, race victory there, 25 points on the board. Fastest laps are actually keeping me ahead of him in the Drivers' World Championship thereafter. P2 going only 6/100ths of a second quicker than Bottas actually, who set the second fastest lap at the end of the Grand Prix there. But yeah, what a race car we've got underneath us at the moment here in this season. Bottas P3, like I said. Verstappen, a quiet race in the end to come home in P4. They almost fell into the clutches of Hamilton had the race been a couple of laps longer there, who finally seemed to be able to get into the groove towards the end of the race there. Perez, Leclerc, Ocon, Gasly and Vettel rounding out the top 10 there. A good result done by Gasly to get the car from 13th into the points there. As you can see, the Canadian Stroll once again missing out on points at the end of the Grand Prix there. Ricciardo, I'm sure, a bit gutted to finish down in P12 there. As you can see, the AlphaTauri, the Haas, the Alfa Romeos, the Williams, and yet another Red Bull failing to make it to the finish line as well there. But that means in the World Championships, like I said, because of those two fastest laps, we are currently 2 points clear of our teammate Lando Norris, I should say, at the top of the Drivers' World Championship there. Bottas with 2 P3s is obviously sat, of course, in P3 there, as Perez and Hamilton tied for 4th place there with just 20 points apiece. Verstappen and Leclerc tied on 12 points ahead of Albon, Ocon and Danny Rick there, as only 12 cars have scored points after the opening 2 Grand Prix there. Stroll and then both Haas, both AlphaTauris and both Williams still yet to get points on the board there. Constructors wise though, comfortably out on top, a maximum 88 points scored after 2 Grand Prix of the season there. Mercedes in P2, they're on 50 ahead of Racing Point and Red Bull there. Ferrari, Renault and AlphaTauri with points on the board there. And yeah, the bottom 3 still yet to score. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, do make sure you leave a like and subscribe as well. And yeah, we will be back very, very soon, ready for round 3 of the season, where we head to Hanoi. You guys do not want to miss it. A big thank you to our channel members for making these videos possible. You can be featured in these end clips as well as granted access to some other exclusive perks for just £1 a month by clicking the join button below.